So now we have a forehead. Boy, we have lots of vocabulary. So we have a high forehead. It's not a tall forehead, it's a high one. It's broad when it's wide. It's narrow if it's narrow, and a low one is the opposite to high, a low forehead and a high forehead. Okay, so high and low, broad, wide, and narrow. Broad again, probably was another word there, but I might have changed it. A slanted forehead, that's when it's really obviously, it has an angle to it, and some people do. Like mine's pretty flat, but you can have one that's slanted. Now, domed, we don't really talk about a domed forehead, so I don't know how to describe this. There's a Russian word for it here, but there's no English word for a domed forehead. But you can have a domed head, okay? And even then, we don't usually say that, a domed head. And that's when you've got a really high forehead, a super high forehead. So your head looks like a big dome, like a dome on a church. You know what a dome on a church is? The big tower round thing on a church. You especially have these in Russia, domes on your churches. And so a domed head would be, you have this really high forehead, okay? But we don't use that very often, okay? In English, in American English anyway. Okay. So we have all those descriptions for her forehead. So she has a high, broad forehead, okay? It's a big one, isn't it? She has a really big forehead. If you get stuck, you can just call it big if you want, okay? She's an enormous forehead, a huge forehead. Looks really big to me. Okay, now here's something to describe men. So here's his mustache, okay? And then he has this little beard, but it's not really a beard, okay? This is when you have just this little tiny thing. It's called a goatee. I think it's spelled this way, goatee. Okay? Pretty sure it is, goatee. Okay? It might be an IE, but I doubt it. Usually I'm right the first time. I'm an editor. Usually I get it right the first time, so it's probably spelled goatee this way. A beard is all right across, and you can have a full beard, which is right across, okay, or just a beard, okay? A beard or a full beard or a trimmed beard is when it's really neat. When it's really neat, it's a trimmed beard. You trimmed it, okay, with scissors or something. But a full beard is you just let it grow out, okay? It's just big and bushy probably. So a trimmed beard. But this is a goatee. This is not a beard, okay? And this is called a pencil mustache, I think they call it, because it's long and thin like a mustache. It's a special kind of mustache, okay? Pencil mustache. Okay, so here are some people, and this is where we get our practice. Okay, we're almost at the end here, and these lessons are quite difficult to get all the way through in the amount of time we have. But we were supposed to describe this people, but I think we're just going to move right on to see if you remember these words. Okay, for we didn't do skin yet. Okay, and skin is important. So we have creamy white skin. We have dull skin, when it's just sort of, it's not shiny. So you can have shiny skin as well, the opposite to dull. So you can have shiny skin. You can have fine skin, which is kind of the same as sensitive skin or tender skin. Sensitive skin is more like if you put cream or something on it and it turns red on you really easily, then it's sensitive. Okay, you just touch it and it turns red on you. Okay, or you get pimples really easily. There's some sort of reaction really easily, usually to creams. When you put it on, then you have sensitive skin. And you'll see this when you buy skin, it might say sensitive on it. So it's special for sensitive skin. Or you might be sunburnt, Or in America, it's sunburned. Okay, we don't use the E, the T on the ends of our words in America or Canada, so it's sunburned or tanned. Okay, but it's never tanned in British. Okay, so all the different kinds of skin. Okay, and we have soft skin, which is pretty much the same as tender skin, and delicate skin. They're pretty much all the same. There's very little. You can use either of them. Okay. Calloused is when, you have those rough hands. If you're working in construction, you're building, you'll have calluses, or you wear it down, you have to mow the lawn or something, and you get calluses on your hand. Okay, they're calloused. They're really, you get a callus. They could be hairy hands. Men sometimes are strong hands. Men have strong hands. Okay, legs they can be plump, long, slender, slim, bow-legged. Okay, they had a different one here before. Bow-legged is kind of like this. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way. I don't know how else to do this. So I'm gonna draw these. I put 2 parentheses here. Okay, so it's kind of like your legs look like that. They're coming out like this. It looks like you've been riding a horse. And you see people, it looks like they're riding a horse. Their legs go out like this. They're bow-legged, like a bow and arrow, that's shaped like that, the bow. So they're bow-legged. They might be shorter. They might be shapely. Means they have some muscles in them. You have shapely legs when they have a little bit of muscle in them, and you do want shapely legs. That's a good thing. Anything that's shapely is good. If somebody says you're shapely, that's going to be a good thing. Okay, good. And shoulders, so you can be narrow-shouldered, where you don't have you'd have a small chest. Okay, like my grandpa has. Okay, so your grandpa's bow-legged. Okay, this is a good expression to know. So if you're narrow-shouldered, usually you don't have a wide chest, right? You'd have a narrow chest. If you're broad-shouldered, usually you have a broad chest as well. They usually go together, right? Your shoulders and your chest usually go together, but not always. You might have a small chest and still be wide-shouldered or broad-shouldered, okay? Or round is when you don't have very good posture and you kind of slump and you kind of have these round shoulders. So you don't really want round shoulders, and I do a little bit. Should be sitting like this, I guess, but that's usually when you get older, you don't do that anymore. It seems you end up with round shoulders, okay?